3 more. The ones that I'm going to share about world leaders and also concerning the previous video that I did where I was shown a number of days. So I was shown 189 days until something was going to happen, and so I asked God about what to do about that dream, and I felt like he told me to prepare. And so I had another dream about in answering my question, and I went to a house. The house, this lady answered the door, and out the back of the house there was other communal kind of area out there and people out there doing stuff, and she took me out there. There was kind of like a church campus, but more so like they were preparing it to be like a community, sort of self-sufficient. And she took me to a storage room and specifically showed me what they'd been storing up, and there was food, like blankets and bedding and towels, in this container. And she said to me, this is all we've been doing with the money that we have. So every bit of money we have left over, we've been storing it, buying items to put in here. And so I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I feel like that was an answer to my dream. So that might be a word to someone to start doing something like that if you haven't already. And then the other 2 dreams, there was one on the 12th of April, and then, the 3rd of May, and then the 14th of May. So the one on the 3rd, I was taken into a room where there was a round table with leaders, political leaders of that different countries. Donald Trump was there. I remember China being there and a few other big nations. They were having a discussion, and the discussion got quite heated, and they couldn't come to an agreement about something that had happened. This was around the time, obviously, right where there's a lot of lockdowns. And the main thing in this dream was that Donald Trump wasn't happy, and that there was no resolution, a conclusion that everyone was agreeing on. And it was mainly over one particular country, and it was China. So he wasn't happy with them, and there was going to be something he was going to initiate because he wasn't happy with what the outcome was of that meeting. And I had this sense that it was going to start a war, and not necessarily him initiating it, but because of what else was going on, like someone had already decided they were going to start it. And so that's kind of what we're seeing now. So that was to do with the war. I shared another dream my mum had to do with the war in my last video. And then I was also shown on the 14th of May something to do with Donald Trump, and pretty much with him is like not going into everything that he does. I'm not saying everything that he does is good, like everyone, makes good and bad decisions, and I'm not being political in this. I am speaking what God showed me. So he showed me that there was a protection over him, that he was appointed to do something, and it was to fulfill prophecy and to do the things that he had planned. And he actually, says Donald Trump, he acknowledged God in what he was doing, and whether or not that was genuine or not, but he was under God's protection to do what he was doing because he acknowledged God. And that's not necessarily a reflection of his heart or his relationship with God, but the acknowledgement of God put the power back in God's hands and allowed God to do what he wanted to do through him. So whether or not he knew it or knows it, God is using him to do something. So he's positioned him in that space to fulfill something, and no one could touch him. There was nothing that could get to him in the spiritual realm. There was a protection over him. So he was going to continue to fulfill those things that God had, that whatever God's will was. He was using him. So the position that he was in, he wasn't going to lose it. He was going to stay there. And he was going to keep doing it until God had finished what he wanted to do. So, I think it's important to remember that even though we can see what other political leaders are doing, right or wrong, and we can sort of judge them for that, as soon as you ask God for his perspective and what's actually being done, like if he's fulfilling prophetic things, God's hand's going to be on him anyway, no matter, like if some of the things he's doing are right or wrong. So I think it's good to remember that, we can criticize and go on about the bad things that people do and the stupid things or things that might look stupid to us. But God's on a different sort of level to us. So I think it's important to kind of not get stuck in those things and just pray. Just pray for our leaders and that God's will be done through them, whatever that may look like. So there.